Threat modeling shows up in senior job descriptions, security frameworks, and interview questions. And almost nobody actually knows how to do it. That's because most explanations are PowerPoints and theory. Today I'm showing you 4 ways to actually do it, including one where I attack my own infrastructure. I'm going to reverse engineer a real breach, build and break a live environment, diagram one from scratch, and run it through a real tool. Pick whichever method clicks for you. And if you stick to the end, you'll understand threat modeling better than people who have been in the field for years but have never actually done it. In 2013, Target lost 40 million credit cards. The attackers didn't find some crazy zero day. They phished an HVAC contractor. That contractor had remote access to Target's network for maintenance. Attackers stole their credentials, logged in, and found there was nothing stopping them from moving laterally, from the heating and cooling system all the way to the payment terminals. If someone had sat down and done some basic threat modeling, they would have asked, why can a vendor who manages thermostats reach systems that process credit cards? That question alone, asked before the breach, could have prevented the whole thing. That's what threat modeling does. You're not predicting the future, you're asking what could go wrong before it does. This is Stride. 6 threat categories: spoofing, tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, denial of service, elevation of privilege. Don't memorize it, use it as a checklist. 2 of these would have stopped Target. Spoofing. The attacker used stolen credentials to pretend they were the HVAC vendor. One question catches that. How do we actually verify who's logging in? Elevation of privilege. The HVAC account could reach payment systems. Why? There was nothing stopping it. One question. Can low-trust users access high-trust systems? That's it. You don't need to drill at all 6. You just need to ask the right questions before the attackers do. Now let's do something most threat modeling tutorials never show you. Actually attacking something. I built a simple login page. HTML form talks to a database. This is what a rushed MVP looks like, and it's everywhere in production. The attack? Watch what happens when I type this into a username field. You're in. No password needed. Why this matters for threat modeling. If I had threat modeled this before building it, I would have asked, what happens if someone puts something other than a username in this field? That one question catches this entire class of vulnerability. Breaking things teaches you where the risks are. But if you need to communicate this to a team that doesn't write code, that's where diagrams come in. This is the version of threat modeling you'll see in frameworks and job descriptions, and it starts simpler than you think. Ask yourself, what are the pieces of my system? For the app we just hacked, a user, a web app, and a database. 3 boxes. That's our starting point. Now, I draw the most important part of the whole diagram, a trust boundary. Everything on the left I don't control. The user could send a normal username, or that SQL injection payload we just used. Everything on the right is my server, my code. That line between them, that's where attacks happen. Arrows show where data moves. The user sends a login request. It crosses the boundary, hits the app, and the app queries the database. Results come back. 2 arrows cross that boundary. That means 2 places where untrusted input enters my system. That red arrow is carrying user input straight into an SQL query. And if you're looking at this diagram, you're already asking, what if someone put something malicious in there? That is threat modeling. Now there's a framework called Stride that gives you 6 questions to ask at each boundary crossing. Can someone spoof their identity, tamper with data, deny their actions, leak information, crash the service, gain access they shouldn't have? 4 out of 6 apply to this one login form. You don't need to memorize Stride. Just know the checklist exists and Google it when you need it. And that's what you end up with, a visual artifact you can show a developer, a manager, or an auditor. If you want to get faster and get structured output, there are tools built for this. This is OWASP Threat Dragon. Free, open source, and it does something your whiteboard can't. Same idea as before. Actors, processes, data stores. You drag them in, connect them, draw your trust boundaries. Same diagram, real tool. Here's a model that looks a lot like our login app. User, web server, database. And look at the bottom. The tool generates threats for me. Spoofing, denial of service, information disclosure. It already asks the Stride questions I'd have to ask manually. You can find my vulnerable app code and quick directions on how to install ThreatDragon on our GitHub page listed in the video description. Now go get your hands dirty. Grab a breach report off of the news, spin up a Flask app and try to break it, open Miro and diagram something you're already working on, or download ThreatDragon and just click around. You'll learn more in 1 hour than most people learn in a year just reading about it.